Hey you guys, it's Rachel here with Senza Tempo Cane Corso. So I'm trying not to wake up my dogs because I want to show you guys how cute they are. See, Cashmere already heard me because that's how she is. Yeah, I see you. I see you. But you can see everybody else is sleeping. Really, Cashmere? Rude. Go lay down. Now, leave her alone. Mean girl. Meanie. She's like, she better recognize. I swear. And now he woke up to chew. Back to sleep again. Honestly, this is what it's like here. Giovanni's about 6 months old now, y'all. Almost 6 months old. I think in 2 weeks he'll be 6 months old. Isn't he gigantic? Big old dog. Batista. Looking big, looking good. I've got Gina and Atari put up right now because they were wilding out earlier. But everybody's sleeping peacefully. Except for you, Miss Extra. What do you want? What do you want? What? What do you want from me? What? What? I can't help you. I'm over here trying to do video. I wasn't even talking to you or about you. So I don't know what you want from me. Can I help you? Can I help you? What do you want? What? What? Woke up Blondie now. Hey, biggin. Hey, you big old girl. Yep, just really quiet and calm. That's how it is. The only ones that get rowdy are the puppies for the most part. Atari is a handful, like a handful and a half, y'all. I can't even begin. She takes all kinds of effort. Look at Cashmere waking everybody up. Oh, yep. She's like, I'm a mouth bite you, a mouth bite you. She always wants to dominate. Always. Always. She's like, I'll dominate you too. You want some mouth bites? She's like, I'll bite your mouth too. Rah, 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 mouth bite. Mouth bite, mouth bite. She's like, get down, boy. Submit to me. Submit to my authority. Yep. She's like, I'm gonna play with you. Big old man child. Preacher's like, not my circus, not my monkeys. He's like, keep me out of it. Now she wants the bone. She's like, actually, I'm gonna chew on my son some more before that. He's like, come on, man, look at this bone. Don't you like that bone? It's a tasty bone. She's like, I'll take the bone. She's like, you better give me that bone, boy. Look how big he is. Yep. Debo. I swear, she's so funny. You know, I understand that it's hard for people to not, like, I understand that it's hard to watch. Like, in our society, we're taught that that kind of behavior is bullying and that bullying is bad. But in the natural world, this is entirely normal and is actually necessary, because without a strong leader, then you have chaos and you have anarchy, and that's not good for any civilized social group of animals, right? There has to be, quote, law and order, right? And Kashmir is law and order, along with her sidekick Preacher, who could care less right now. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. So back whenever I used to have a lot of fish, I used to have African cichlids. And African cichlids are some of the most aggressive fish that you can own. And before I really understood hierarchy, and especially when it came to fish, this is a hard lesson I had to learn. There was this one, every time you have African cichlid, there's always this one really aggressive fish, right? And it goes around and it beats up on all the other fish. And a trick with African cichlids is to have so many of them that the aggression has to be distributed evenly. So if you have too few of them, then one fish will typically get targeted for abuse, kind of like, Velocity here. And so whenever you have a lot of them, then the alpha has to spend more time, dispersing justice amongst everybody, and really doesn't necessarily get to focus on that one individual. And so before I understood this, I had this one really, aggressive African cichlid, and I hated that fish. I hated him. He was so aggressive, and I took it personal, and I really humanized it. And I was like, God, you're such a jerk. You're such a bully, this and that. And I got rid of the fish. I put it up on Craigslist, I think, for free. And coincidentally, every single time that I did that, and I did it, I think it took me maybe 3 times to realize that I was wasting my time. One of the other fish that was in the tank that had not been dominant would rise up and would start to be exactly the same. Just as aggressive, just as dominant, picking on all the other fish, messing with them, chasing them around the tank. And I kept personalizing it until I finally realized that it didn't matter how many times I got rid of that fish, another one was always going to pop up. And the reason for that is because there always has to have, there's always going to be a dominant animal within any social group of animals. And so there are different levels of alphas. So for example, some are not necessarily as aggressive as others, but they all are dominant and they all do rule with an iron fist. There's no way to rule without it. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn, but I did go through that. You know what I mean? I did go through that thing of like really humanizing it and just being like, wow, you're so mean. You're such a bully. Like you're really, just complicating it. You know what I mean? I would say it's like that. You're really complicating it. And I mean, the dogs, it's like that too. Like if I took Kashmir and I got rid of her, you bet your butt that the next dog would be just as dominant, if not more so. Like I said before with Velocity, you would never want Velocity to be in charge. Like if you think Kashmir's bad, you haven't seen anything yet, because Velocity would be 100 times worse, because she lacks the stability of mind that Kashmir has. And that's why Kashmir really focuses on Velocity, because Velocity has a lack of self-control and kind of a slight instability to her behavior, which is why Kashmir really focuses on her. And it's the same thing with Atari. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Atari, Trinity. Trinity used to get picked on a lot by her mother, way more than Velocity ever did. And it's funny because Atari, where she's at now, is super dominant. I mean, she actually got a pretty big correction by one of the adult pack members named Melina at my best friend's house, because she tried to check an adult. And you can't do that. As a puppy, you have to respect, your elders. You can't be going in there thinking that you're going to, be making the rules. And I think that Kashmir, being an alpha, she knew that. And so she went out of her way to teach her how to behave, so that she didn't get herself into trouble. Because it's safer for her to learn to submit to an authority than it is for Trinity to think that she doesn't have to, and then for her to actually get seriously handled by another dog. And look at his face. He's like, man, I don't know what crawled up her butt and died. So the reason that Cashmere walks around the way that she does, being the tough girl that she is because that's what maintains order in the pack. You know, everyone knows the rules, everyone minds their manners, and that's why my pack is so stable. And if you removed her, then another dog would come up, and that animal may not even be as good of an alpha as Cashmere. They're all strong, they're all tough, but some are less just than others. And so it's important to keep that in mind, that there is no such thing as having a pack without an alpha. You're not there. It doesn't exist. It's not going to happen. Even if you remove what you call the bully, the aggressive one, another one's going to pop up, and they may be worse than the last. And you may be wishing, wow, I wish that other one was still the alpha. And it just happens that way. Even in lions, when a male lion comes into a new pride and takes over, sometimes they kill off all of the offspring, all the cubs from the last males, and sometimes they don't. It just depends. Some are more willing to allow their own offspring to stay longer, and some are not. Some kick them out earlier. So there's different levels of dominance, different ways to rule, but nonetheless, a ruler is always going to be in charge, is always going to be the top, and is always going to have to remind everyone and enforce that position. And so that's why you see the kinds of things that you see out of Cashmere. You know, she went around letting everybody know just now, hey, I'm alpha, I'm alpha. Now that she's asserted herself and everybody knows it, she can sit down and chew on a bone and everything's good. And that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So just kind of wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit, because I do understand how hard it can be to watch, and how easy it is as a person to kind of think, wow, you know, that's mean, or she's being a bully or whatever. But the truth is that you can't have a pack without an alpha. You just can't. And they're all going to have to display and communicate their role within that pack. And that's not always the easiest thing to see or watch. But I can tell you this, that it's a lot harder on us than it is on them. Quiet down, Atari! So anyway, just something to keep in mind. So I'm going to let Atari and Jean out to go to the bathroom, and now they've had their time out. Also, I'm not going to let her out quite yet because she's barking. It's a good thing. Never, ever, ever let your dog out when they're barking. Always tell them to be quiet, give them the correction, wait for them to be quiet and calm, and then go in and let them out. Otherwise, you'll teach them that in order to get out, they need to scream and holler. So it's basically rewarding bad behavior. Okay? Hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope that helps. Bye!